You wake up tired even when you slept enough. You walk into a room and forget why. You start 10 things and finish none. You hear people say just focus, just try harder, just get it done, and something inside you breaks a little more each time because you've been trying harder than anyone knows. Your whole life has felt like running underwater while everyone else seems to be walking on solid ground. And the worst part is you can't explain why. If this sounds familiar, you're not broken. Your brain just works differently, and nobody ever gave you the manual. Most people don't realize that difficulty in life isn't always about circumstances or effort. Sometimes it's about the invisible architecture of your mind, the way your brain produces, distributes, and sustains the neurochemicals that make focus, motivation, and follow-through feel natural. For some people, this system runs smoothly without them ever thinking about it. For others, it's like trying to run a modern city on an inconsistent power grid. The lights flicker. Things shut down randomly. You have to manually restart systems that should run automatically. And every single day requires an exhausting amount of conscious effort just to do what seems effortless for others. The hardest part isn't the struggle itself. It's the isolation of struggling in a way nobody sees. When you're physically injured, people understand. When you're visibly upset, people offer support. But when your challenge is internal, when it's about executive function and dopamine regulation and working memory, you just look like someone who isn't trying, someone who's lazy, someone who doesn't care. And over time, you start to believe it yourself. If you're finding value in this, I'd really appreciate if you take a second to subscribe and leave a like. It helps more people who need to hear this actually find it. And honestly, knowing this resonates with you makes creating this content meaningful. Let's talk about what's actually happening. Your brain has a reward system, a chemical pathway that's supposed to make important tasks feel worth doing. It's the reason most people can sit down and do something boring but necessary, like paperwork or cleaning, without it feeling like climbing a mountain. That system runs on dopamine, which isn't just about pleasure. It's about salience, about your brain marking something as worth your attention and energy. When that system works typically, your brain naturally highlights what needs to get done, gives you a sense of momentum as you work, and delivers a small sense of satisfaction when you complete it. It's a smooth transaction. But for neurodivergent brains, especially those with ADHD, that transaction is broken. The dopamine doesn't flow predictably. Your brain doesn't naturally mark a boring but important task as worth doing. So even when you logically know you need to do something, even when you desperately want to do it, your brain refuses to engage. There's no momentum. No sense of reward, just a blank wall of resistance. And the only way through it is to force yourself with sheer willpower, which is absolutely exhausting and rarely sustainable. This is why you can spend 3 hours scrolling your phone, but can't spend 10 minutes on an email. It's not a moral failure. The scrolling gives your brain quick, unpredictable hits of dopamine. The email doesn't. Your brain is essentially starving for neurochemical fuel, and it will take it wherever it can find it, even when you consciously want to do something else. Understanding this doesn't make it go away, but it does take away the shame, and that alone changes everything. Here's what this looks like in real life. You set an alarm to start working at 9. 9 comes and goes. You're still sitting there, knowing you should start, feeling the anxiety build, but completely unable to make yourself move. Finally, at 11:30, with the deadline pressure turned up high enough, your brain releases just enough stress-driven adrenaline to get you going. You work in a frantic sprint, fueled by panic, and somehow you get it done. Afterward, you feel exhausted, relieved, and deeply ashamed that it had to be this way again. People see you meeting the deadline and think you're fine. They don't see the 2.5 hours of internal paralysis, the crushing self-judgment, or the fact that you're running on fumes. This pattern has a name in neuroscience. It's called hyperfocus paired with task initiation difficulty. Your brain can focus intensely once it's engaged, but getting it engaged is the battle. And because you can hyperfocus when something finally clicks, people assume you're capable of that level of focus whenever you want. They don't understand that it's not a switch you control. It's more like waiting for lightning to strike. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and you can't force it. Over time, you learn to rely on artificial urgency, deadlines, crises, other people's disappointment. You become dependent on external pressure because your internal system doesn't generate motivation on its own. And this works, kind of, but it's like running your entire life on emergency power. It keeps the lights on, but it burns you out. You're constantly operating in fight or flight mode, and your nervous system never gets a chance to rest. This is why life feels harder for you. You're not doing less. You're working exponentially harder just to produce the same results, and nobody sees the effort because the effort is invisible. Another layer to this is working memory. Most people can hold multiple pieces of information in their mind at once. They can remember what they walked into a room for. They can follow a conversation without losing the thread. They can keep track of a few tasks without writing everything down. For neurodivergent brains, working memory is like a very small desk with papers constantly falling off. You can only hold one or two things at a time, and if anything disrupts you, everything scatters. This is why you forget what someone just said, why you lose your keys every single day, why you can't follow multi-step instructions without writing them down. It's not that you're not listening or not paying attention. Your brain literally can't hold that much information in active awareness at once. And then there's emotional regulation. Most people experience emotions as something that flows through them. They feel sad, they process it, it passes. They feel angry, they cool down, they move on. For many neurodivergent people, emotions don't flow. They flood. A small criticism feels like a catastrophe. A minor inconvenience derails your entire day. Rejection, even perceived rejection, hits like a physical blow. This isn't about being overly sensitive or dramatic. It's about a nervous system that reacts intensely and takes longer to return to baseline. So you're not just managing tasks and focus. You're also constantly managing an emotional intensity that feels completely out of proportion to what triggered it. People tell you to just let it go, to not take things so personally, and you would if you could. But your brain doesn't have a dimmer switch. It has an on-off toggle, and most of the time it's stuck on high. This makes relationships harder, work harder, everyday life harder. And once again, it's invisible. People just see someone who overreacts, who's too intense, who can't handle normal stress. They don't see the neurological reality underneath. What makes all of this even more difficult is that you've spent your entire life trying to compensate. You've built elaborate systems to remember things. You've set 17 alarms. You've used every productivity app. You've tried waking up earlier, going to bed earlier, exercising more, drinking less caffeine, drinking more caffeine, meditating, journaling, and 100 other things that work beautifully for neurotypical people and barely make a dent for you. And each time something doesn't work, it reinforces the belief that you're the problem, that you're not trying hard enough, that if you just had more discipline, more willpower, more something, you'd be fine. But here's the truth. Willpower is a limited resource for everyone. And if your brain requires 10 times the willpower to do basic tasks, you're going to run out faster. It's not a character flaw. It's a math problem. You're being asked to run a marathon every single day while other people are taking a light jog and then being judged for being tired. The relief comes when you stop fighting your brain and start working with it. This doesn't mean giving up or lowering standards. It means recognizing that the strategies that work for neurotypical brains might not work for yours, and that's okay. It means experimenting with external structures that replace the internal regulation your brain doesn't provide naturally. Body doubling, where you work alongside someone else even if you're doing different tasks. Timers that create artificial urgency in manageable doses. Breaking tasks into pieces so small they don't trigger resistance. Using movement to regulate your nervous system instead of forcing yourself to sit still. Building in transition time because your brain needs longer to shift gears. None of this makes you less capable. It makes you someone who understands how their brain works and adapts accordingly. The most successful neurodivergent people aren't the ones who figured out how to be normal. They're the ones who stopped trying to be normal and started building a life that fits their actual brain, not the brain they wish they had. And here's something important. You've survived this long without understanding what was happening. You've made it through years of feeling like you're failing at being human, and you're still here. That's not weakness. That's resilience on a level most people will never have to access. You've been fighting an invisible battle every single day, and the fact that you're tired doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. Life feels harder for you because it is harder. Your brain is doing incredibly complex work just to maintain baseline function. The effort you put into a normal day would exhaust most people, but you've been doing it so long you don't even recognize it as extraordinary. You've been told the problem is you, but the problem was never you. The problem is a world built for one kind of brain, and yours is different. Not less, not broken, different. You're not too much. You're not too sensitive. You're not lazy or undisciplined or any of the things you've been called or called yourself. You're someone whose brain needs specific conditions to thrive, and once you understand what those conditions are, everything starts to shift. Not all at once, not perfectly, but enough that life stops feeling like a constant uphill battle and starts feeling like something you can actually navigate. You've been running on hard mode your entire life without knowing there were other settings. Now you know. And that knowledge, that simple understanding that your struggle is real and has a reason, is the first step toward building something different. Something sustainable. Something that doesn't require you to burn yourself out just to keep up. The world will keep moving at its pace. People will keep not understanding. But you don't need them to understand anymore. You understand. And that changes everything.